Okay, what's going on, everybody? A wild one in LA. I'm Jimmy Toscana with the one and only A-Sherrod Blakely. Josue Pavone will be joining us momentarily, and Bobby Manning is holding it down in LA. Unless he's kicking it with the celebs after the game. I think I saw a couple of A-listers on the sidelines there, but hopefully Bobby will be able to join us at some point. This one, I don't even know where you want to start with this one, Sherrod. Celtics take this one 122-118 in overtime. Josue, how you doing, baby? Can you hear us?
I'm good. I'm good, Jimmy. I'm good.
All right. You are good. You're good. Celtics they're good with the result. I don't know if they're great with how they got the result. So, Sherrod, let's start with you. I mean, this one, the Celtics were up 20 in the second half of this game, and it just they just hit a brick wall, man. 6 minutes. I think 6 minutes, 12 seconds without a single point. I think Matt Patricia took over offensive play calling during that stretch or something. I don't know what happened there.
Man.
Wow. But they righted the ship. I think, LeBron, Westbrook, AD did everything they could in that comeback, in that stretch to come back the way they did, and they just ran out of gas in the end. But Sherrod, give me your takeaway from this one.
Well, I mean, to me, the biggest takeaway is that they got the win. I mean, that really has to be at the end of the day what you were hoping for, because the Celtics have shown the ability to beat teams in a multitude of ways. And this is one that you have to put in a category of an ugly win. This is a game that should never have been as close as it should have went to overtime at all. Celtics should have won this thing in regulation. And the offense just hit one of those slumps that a very Matt Patricia-like slump, as Jimmy would put it. And it happens, particularly if you're a team like the Celtics who've been playing such ridiculously good offense for so much of the season. You're going to have games where your offense is going to be in the funk. And to me, the timing of this, it makes a lot of sense. It's your first real West Coast trip. You're playing teams that haven't played great but are trending in the right direction. Remember, Golden State was playing some of its better basketball when they went out and played them. Lakers have, after looking as though they were going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA this year, now they've upgraded themselves to just being a bad NBA team. And bad NBA teams are going to find ways to beat you in their building if you're not careful. So the Celtics, the big takeaway is you got to win. And now you can just kind of lick your wounds, figure out what you need to do better. The one criticism, and I don't even think it was a criticism, the one thing I wish Joe Mazzulla would get a better pulse for, because I don't think he has a pulse for this just yet to the level that I think he needs, is when to call the timeout and when not to. I was texting a scout earlier tonight, and they had mentioned to me that the Celtics are a team that at some point, some of their greatest strengths are going to become their greatest weaknesses. And Joe, the way that he empowers those guys to just figure things out on the fly has been a strength for the most part this season. But you're going to have nights where the coach is going to have to intervene and say, okay, fellas, let me tell you what we need to do to end this drought and get you guys back on track. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think Joe did a good job of that tonight. But again, at this point on the road, you want to find ways to get wins, and that's what they were able to do.
That's a good point, Sherrod. I feel like this thing escalated quickly. And this is a good lesson for the Celtics, of course, of how to protect the lead, because that 20-point lead went away quickly. And, Sherrod, you mentioned this isn't a great team. This isn't one of the top-notch teams in the NBA, but they were a motivated team. LeBron James was in downhill mode and attack mode, and the Celtics couldn't stop the bleeding. So that was something that they had to, moving forward, they have to make sure that they're able to control teams in the second half, especially when it matters the most in that fourth quarter. I mean, getting out to that 10-0 run the way the Lakers did, it made it look easy too. I mean, listen, that huge shot for Jayson Tatum over LeBron James, I love that. That's great. That's something that we'll always remember. That's something that we'll see in the highlights throughout this season of big performances by Jayson Tatum. This is definitely one of them. But man, if he doesn't make that, we're having a completely different conversation, right? I mean, this game was really close. It came down to that. And I'm happy for Jayson Tatum to have that moment, but this has to be also a teaching moment for this Celtics team in how to control or how to maintain a double-digit lead in the second half. I mean, it was halfway through the third that they had that 20-point lead.
And don't forget, Anthony Davis missed those 2 free throws right there at the end
of
the game.
Yeah, that was huge too. Yeah, you're right, Jimmy.
If 1 or 2 of those goes down, we could be talking, like you said, we could be talking about one of the worst losses in the last couple of years for this team. I mean, this
my math is correct.
And this is what John was worried about. And John, I think John, he can't do back-to-backs on the West Coast anymore, so I don't think John's going to make this show tonight. But I'm sure he'll be at the next one. But John's big concern after that Warriors loss was that is this team reverting back into old habits that we saw last season in December? So basically a year ago, where they got stagnant on offense. They stopped moving the ball around. They weren't working as hard as they needed to. And then you see what the Lakers are doing tonight. I mean, guys like LeBron and Westbrook are running you guys out of the gym in that fourth quarter there. And the Celtics are just kind of standing around, shell-shocked, turning the ball over, watching the ball, not playing their sort of brand, their style of basketball, up-tempo. It's one thing, when the threes are falling, everything's great. But when they're not, you got to find other ways to score. You got to be aggressive. You got to play defense. You got to get back in transition. I mean, LeBron's going up and down the court like it was 2011 in the TD Garden against, Pierce, KG, and those guys. I mean, the way he was playing tonight. So that was troubling. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't get to see the second half of last night's game against the Clippers, but to see the final score, they lose by 20. To see them blow a 20-point lead tonight, and you got to credit them for the way they came back late in that fourth quarter, of course, and in overtime. But just to see like the Jekyll and Hyde sort of foot on the gas, foot off the gas, that's not what a championship team. That's not how they can play basketball. And with the Milwaukee Bucks coming to town soon, very interested to see how that game plays out with some of the habits they're falling back into here.
The Celtics have managed to find ways to win without being complete. And we talk about Rob Williams, but I think we're starting to see snippets of what Al Horford means to this team without Al Horford over an extended period of time. Blake Griffin, I think, has done a solid job for the most part filling in, but he's playing too many damn minutes. He's getting too many damn starts. Blake is in case of an emergency,
doing his best, Rod. Damn.
He is, but his best isn't that good.
He might even tell you that he's playing too.
I mean, if we're being honest and real, I mean, he doesn't suck.
Rod's like, this isn't cute anymore.
No. And I think the Celtics fans, they know what I'm saying. I mean, Blake isn't a bad player. He's just not. He doesn't give you what Al can give you consistently, and it's cute, as Joe Sawyer put it. It's cute for a game or two, but Blake's spending way too much time with that first unit than I think the Celtics should be comfortable with. And Al means that much to them. They need to get Al back. And if you don't have Al and you don't have Rob, at some point it's going to add up and it's going to hurt you, slowly but surely. So I'm looking forward to getting Al back. I'm looking forward to getting Rob's ass out there at some point because, with all due respect to Blake Griffin, this ain't what he signed up for. He wants to be part of what's going on. He wasn't expecting to have like 3, 4, 5, 6 starts at this point in the season. I mean, that's a lot for a guy at this point in his career who joined a team like this with the role being to supplement from time to time, but not with any kind of regularity. And again, I don't want anyone to interpret it as saying, it's Blake's fault that they lost. No, but it becomes a domino effect when you have guys who are at the end of your bench, like the Luke Cornett's of the world and the Blake Griffins of the world, who are playing the minutes of first team all NBA defensive type guys. At some point, the difference between those two types of players is going to manifest itself. I mean, the Lakers are a crappy shooting team, and yet they were hanging around the 50% mark most of this game. They finished with like 48% from the field. And that includes Russell Westbrook going like 7 for 19 or something. So the rest of the team did a pretty damn good job of knocking down shots. The Celtics need all their pieces to be great. And as Jimmy kind of alluded to, when they play Milwaukee, I really hope that they have all their guys because we're never going to get a true sense of how good this team can really be until we see how Rob and Al work together in tandem and how Tatum and Brown and those guys work as a unit. Right now, we're seeing glimpses of what they can do, and those glimpses look pretty damn good, evident by their overall record. But you're not going to win a championship until you have your main guys from top to bottom around. This team that's one of the strengths of this team. Their collective sum, not the individuals.